Guys, it's Fonzie with DipYourCar.com. Dip Pearls has finally launched, so the only Dip Your Car approved additives for PlastiDip are out there on the market and available on the website right now. So that goes from pearl powders to microflakes all the way to those chameleons. A lot of you guys have probably seen the full chameleon, the 5-color chameleon job we did on the S4. If you haven't seen that yet, after this video, check that one out. It's a perfect example of the power of these additives and what you can do with them. So with this video, I'm going to try to give you an all-encompassing tutorial of how to use these products, how much you should use in each gallon, what type of gallons can be used, what type of base coats, how they react over different types of base coats. We're going to go over the pearls, the microflakes. You've already seen us use the chameleon, so we're going to kind of tie those into the pearls. We'll go over the 25-gram bags and the 5-gram bags, how to add them to different types of gallons, the products that you need here. We're going to go over everything. So when you're done with this video, you should be fully educated on the Dip Pearls system, and you should have enough confidence to go in and use them on your own product. So it's Fonzie. Sit back and relax. Enjoy the video. Okay, the first thing we're going to mix up is the World Rally Blue so that we can show you exactly what the standard pearls look like over a black standard base coat. Now remember, when you're going to be doing this in full scale, you're going to be using 50 grams of pearl per sprayable gallon. So because we're only going to be doing this on small scale right now for testing, I'm going to cut everything in half. So I'm only going to need 25 grams. And because I want to have that combo of glossifier and matte clear, I'm going to use my paint cup here from the dip sprayer system, which has a 32-ounce mark right there. And I'm going to measure out 32 ounces of matte clear. And then we're going to get 32 ounces of glossifier. This is going to give it a really, really nice satin pop to it. Okay, first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and we're going to blend this up so that the combo of the two products is evenly dispersed. Okay, now when it comes to mixing the pearls into the gallon, it's very important that the pearls are properly dispersed. We don't want any clumping, we don't want any binding. We want this stuff to really, really kind of saturate into the spraying material. So what is really important is you're going to want to dump in one bag at a time. You don't want to take, if you're going to be doing 50 grams of pearl into this, say it was a full gallon, you don't want to take both bags, dump them on top, and then just try to blend it all together. So what you really want to do is one bag at a time. Now this is only half a gallon and I'm only using 25 grams. So what I like to do is I like to sprinkle it in and cover the surface of the gallon instead of having one big clump. Try to spread it out the best that you can. Get it all out of there. And if you can see that, we've really kind of covered the surface of the gallon with the pearl powder. Now comes one of the most important parts of the whole project as far as blending this stuff in. The better you blend it, the better the results are going to be. What I like to do, and you've seen this in the chameleon video, is I like to blend it really well and I like to let it sit and saturate for another 5 minutes, come back and blend it, and I might do that 2 or 3 times because, again, dispersing that pigment and powder evenly throughout the entire spraying liquid is very, very important. So we're going to start slow so that we don't puff it all up into the air. Okay, I've got it nice and blended up, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to load this into the hopper. Then we're going to load it right into the dip sprayer system, and we're going to start putting our pearl coats down. Alright, here's this section of the hood we're going to be working with for the pearl. Now I've got 3 coats of standard matte black PlastiDip as my base. That's again going to be my default base coat whenever working with the pearls. We could do this over maybe a navy blue or a light blue base, and that'd be a really cool color match, but I'll show you what it looks like over black for right now. So as far as you're going to be spraying the pearls, the first thing you want to do is get a light tack coat down. About a 50% coverage, back and forth. Whenever you're spraying the pearls, you want to avoid spraying too heavy. If you spray too heavy and too wet, the pearls are going to pool up way too much, and you want to try to avoid that. You want to have a nice even finish all the way across the car. Now, if we were doing the side of the car, and you may have seen this in the S4 video, the first 2 coats I do on the car with the pearl are going to be standard coats panel by panel. but third, fourth, fifth, and sixth pearl coats, if it goes up that high, on the sides of the car, I'm going to be walking up and down the side of the car. I'm not going to stop panel to panel, because what that can do is it can cause a buildup of pearls. So they say this is the front door and this is the rear door. It could build up a pearl, basically like an overflow in the center. And then you're going to have light spots in the middle and dark spots between each door. So first two coats are going to be light, and then we're going to walk up and down the side of the car and get it put on nice and even. So the first thing we're going to do is put this first tack coat on. All right, we got the first coat of World Rally Blue Pearl nice and dry. We're going to come in with our second, third, fourth coats, and we're going to build it up. Again, we're not going to go heavy. We're going to just do our 50% overlays back and forth and do nice, even passes. And then what you really want to do is, as this gun's been sitting here for a while between coats, or even if you've just been working a full hopper around the car, every 30, 45 seconds or so, I like to swish the gun around. It's really important to keep the pearls, the flakes, or anything you have in your gun agitated at all times. Alright guys, this is the end result after 4 coats of World Rally Blue over a black base coat. It's a beautiful, rich, deep blue. It's got a crazy metallic pearl effect to it. So right now we're going to move on to the microflake. Okay, we're going to move on to the microflakes now. Now microflakes, again, as a default, we're going to be using 25 grams per sprayable gallon of glossifier. The microflakes are going to go into pure glossifier only. So for testing purposes, again, I'm going to start cutting this stuff in half. So I'm going to get my paint cup here, and I'm going to measure out 64 ounces of just glossifier. That'll give me that half gallon of glossifier that I need. Okay, we got our half a gallon of glossifier here. Now, this is a 25 gram bag. Remember that all the pearls, microflakes, and everything come in 25 gram bags or 5 gram sample bags. So because I'm only using a half a gallon of glossifier, I'm only going to need a half a bag of microflakes. So I'm going to need half of this 25 grams. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay all the microflake down along the side of the bag, and I'm just going to kind of pinch off about halfway through. And then I'm going to try to focus on just pouring this amount into the half gallon here. Now normally this would be super easy for you. You're just going to drop the entire 25 gram bag in, and this is not an exact science. If I get 18 grams instead of, one way or another, if I'm 3 or 4 grams off, it's not going to make that much of a difference. We're just trying to give you guidelines here. Now, one thing that you're going to notice is the microflakes are heavy. They sink to the bottom of the gallon. They go right down to the bottom. The pearls are going to sit on top, the microflakes go to the bottom. So it's extremely important to not only blend this very well, but continue to agitate and swirl around the gun, not only in between coats, but as you're spraying. Okay, we got the microflake blended up really well in the glossifier. Now I want you to take a look at something. Remember when we released the colored metallizers and aerosols, and everybody was asking over and over and over again, when are you going to release the colored metallizers in gallons? And I always told everybody, we're going to have a solution for that soon. Well, the solution for that isn't necessarily bringing the colored metallizers to gallons. It's allowing you guys to make essentially the colored metallizers yourselves. This is your solution for colored metallizers. This is essentially a colored metallizer. It's a glossifier with the metallic flake in it. So just imagine, out of all the microflakes that we offer, you can now make your own colored metallizers in whatever colors that you want, colors and combinations. So we've got our half gallon here. We've got half the bag of the 25 grams of microflake mixed in here. And what we're going to do now is load this up into the gun, and we're going to shoot this over a black base coat. Okay, we've got our black base coat here again. It's 3 coats of matte black. Now, you can add the microflake over any base coat that you want. You can add it over any standard matte PlastiDip base coat. You can add it over a pearl level that you had just put down. So say we wanted to add a blue microflake to the World Rally Blue Pearl that we just put on. There's really no limits to this. As far as applying it, it's glossifier only, so remember, it's kind of thin. You want to avoid any runs. As you're doing your passes back and forth, the first coat is going to add what would be almost a light dusting or galaxy type mist of metallic flake. If that's the look you're going for, chances are 1 coat, maybe 2, will do it. if you're really trying to build them up and you're trying to get a solid metallic finish, you're going to be much more than 1-2 coats. You're going to be in the 5, 6, 7 coat range. So I'm going to take you through one coat at a time so you can see what kind of effect the lime green microflake has on the black base coat. Alright guys, this is one coat of the lime green microflake over a black surface. Now for most people that are just looking to add a metallic flake effect to their end result, one good solid coat is probably going to be where you're going to want to stop. However, if you want to get heavier, if you want to make it more intense, obviously the more coats you do, the more it's going to build up. However, the more we do, if we wanted this to be a black car with a metallic green effect, the more coats we put on, the more it's going to pull away from looking like a black car, and it's going to look more like a metallic green car. So let's put a couple more coats on and see what the difference is. Guys, this is 3 coats of that lime green microflake over a matte black base, and because it goes purely into glossifier, it's got a very glossy finish, and you can see that metallic flake really popping, really shining and glittering underneath, especially as you move back and forth. Sometimes you can see the black right through it with some glitter. When you look at it dead on, it looks almost like that green metallic finish. Now let's talk about sample bags, the Preval sprayers, and even the speed shapes for a second. Now every single product in the Dip Pearls section is available in both 25-gram bags and then the 5-gram sample bags. So as you look, there's actually quite a bit difference between how much the Pearls weigh and the microflake. See, this is 5 grams of burnt orange microflake. This is 5 grams of that team orange candy pearl. So I thought that they would work good together if we decide to spray one on top of each other and so forth. So the real question comes to mind, if I'm going to use a 5-gram sample bag, how much sprayable dip do I want to pour one of these 5-gram sample bags into? So the answer is, for every 5-gram sample bag, if you're going to use the whole bag, you want about 12 ounces of sprayable dip. So as far as the Preval sprayer, now you can spray your sample bags obviously out of the 3500 gun, the Dip Your Car's dip sprayer, or the Preval sprayer here. Now this goes up to about 6 ounces. So if you want to use the Preval sprayer, for example, for a set of wheels, you can kind of mix your batch on the side. You can mix it 6 ounces at a time and pour half of the 5-gram bag in. Obviously, there's a little bit of math to it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I'll help you out the best I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically try to cut it in half. I know that I'm going to use 12 ounces for a 5-gram sample bag, so I'm going to fill up my Preval sprayer to the 6-ounce line. And I'm going to do that very ineffectively. And you can decide to spill it all over your table if you want to. I decide to do that just to spice it up once in a while. But after you're done cleaning up the mess that you just made, now I've got 6 ounces of sprayable dip, and I want to add essentially a half of my 5-gram sample bag to that. Now it's all about mixing again. Now Prevals are kind of easy, because what you can do is you can just put the straw in, and you can put the Preval together, and then you can start swirling it around. Okay, we've got our speed shape here, and just like the rest of the stuff that we're doing today, it's got a matte black base coat on. It's got 2 coats of matte black PlastiDip. Now, this is the Team Orange Candy Pearl, and it's mixed into a combination 50-50 of the matte clear rubber dip spray and the glossifier, just like we've been doing. Now, once you swirl it around, you want to do some test sprays. You want to make sure that it's spraying out nice and even. You're not getting any clumps in the pearls. Now, the Preval sprayers spray a very small spray pattern, about the size of a $50 or so, depending on how far away you are. Now, it also has very high atomization, which means it has very small particles, a very small mist that comes out of the front of it. So because it's got such a small concentrated spray pattern, you don't want to put it on too heavy, because you can build up too much product and create a run. So again, the first coat, I like to do just a nice tack coat back and forth. Now, one of the very important things about using a Preval sprayer is you have to use it at a maximum of a 45-degree angle. Once you start dipping it down farther than the 45-degree angle, it doesn't function very well. It can spit, it can malfunction, so just try to keep it upright at all times, or at a little bit of a forward tilt if possible. So we're going to let this first coat of the Team Orange dry and come back again. All right, here's where we are after 2 coats of the Team Orange on the black base coat. And as you can see that the base coat really does make quite a difference in how the pearl looks at the end of the day. If you see the difference between 2 coats of the Team Orange over a black base versus the Team Orange in the actual Proval as a pure pearl, there's actually quite a big difference. So the thoughts come to mind, well, what would it look like over a Koi Orange base coat, a Firebelly Orange base coat, so on and so forth. But we're ready to put our 3rd coat on, and then ever since we launched the dip pearls, we got a lot of questions about, you've got pearls, you've got microflakes, well, can you mix them together? What does that do? Well, I've got 5-gram sample pack right here of the burnt orange microflakes. So I'm going to pinch off about half of it, and we're going to mix them together. Now as it's swirling around, it's taken on a completely different look. It's got that burnt orange microflake bringing a very high level of that metal flake and sparkly look to it now, instead of just that rich pure pearl. So we're going to put our 3rd and 4th coat over it now with the microflake mixed in. We've now got 4 coats of that Team Orange pearl on this speed shape. The last 2 coats actually containing the burnt orange microflake. So the old question, can you mix a microflake into a pearl combo or into a pearl mixture? And the answer, of course you can. It looks freaking crazy. It's absolutely enhancing the look of the pearl. It brings a little bit more of a richness out, and then that metallic shiny flake. Now if you didn't want to add a metallic effect or shiny flake to your pearl, then just, don't add microflake to it. But can you mix them together and really enhance the look of it and take it to that next level? You absolutely can. Alright guys, we definitely covered a lot in this video, but I needed to approach this video keeping in mind that there's going to be people watching it that have absolutely no idea how to use pearls, how to use additives, or microflakes. This was going to be their first time being introduced to it. And just like any do-it-yourself project, if you don't have the confidence that you know what you're doing going into it, chances are you may or may not even go into it. So I wanted to give you guys the education and make you feel a little bit more comfortable just to get some basics and guidelines down, so that if in your mind you're thinking, I want to dip my car, I want to dip my wheels, and I want to utilize these additives, I want to use a pearl or a microflake or a chameleon, I know how to go into it, and I know if I follow these steps, I'll get the good result. Now obviously, everything you saw us use today in the dip pearls, the chameleons, the microflakes, the thinners, the guns, the Proval sprayers, the speed shapes, everything is available for you at dipyourcar.com in the dip pearls category. If you have any questions at all, call in during business hours or email customer service at dipyourcar.com. A lot of you guys are reaching out to me directly via Instagram or Twitter, things like that. I love communicating with you guys and doing the best I can to help you with your project. So you're going to see us do a ton of videos with this stuff. We're going to be mixing into base coats and rubber dip spray. We're going to be doing all sorts of different crazy stuff. So just stay tuned and we'll take you through all the different varieties and variants that come with mixing additives into PlastiDip. So I hope you guys got what you need out of this. If you have any questions, we'll be there for you. It's Fonzie. I'll see you in the next video.